Welcome everyone to this week's Video Confidence Connect with your host Zoë Wood, the Video Confidence Coach, smashing your marketing mayhem with killer video marketing strategies. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm just going to turn this baby down just a smidge, just to make sure that we're not blowing out anyone's eardrums. Thank you. I will be referring to my elevator pitch to the right of you if you see me looking over there. Do not worry, that's just me trying to make sure that I've got my elevator pitch right. I'm still learning it, and don't worry, that's what I can work with other people too. So in that meantime, let's carry on with today's Video Confidence Connect. So let's start off with the tagline that introduces. So the Video Confidence Coach, it's me, emboldens women and non-binary superstars with killer video marketing strategies, empowering them to show up, stand out, and smash their goals. Welcome to our Video Confidence Connect, our weekly live stream that I host here on either YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever you're finding this every Friday on from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is my opportunity as a chance to reach out, chat with you. If there's any chance that you want to talk about personal branding, or if there's any questions people have asked me and I haven't had a chance to respond to you directly, this is the time to do it. I have a nice list in front of me of things to get through, and that is why we're here. Make sure that if you are listening or watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, make sure that you put your personal branding or video marketing questions in the comments. Any thoughts, any ideas that you have for future podcast episodes that I also do record on days like this, as well as the opportunity just to have a chat. I have had a couple of people reach out to me via email. Hello, if you are watching. Thank you so much. We're currently in the midst of figuring out if it is an appropriate time to say have a live stream chat or if it's a personalized chat. We'll see how that goes. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. That's what this is about. For anyone who is not watching us live or who are watching us on the hashtag replay squad, feel free to put your comments there as well, because I will make sure to get back to you. You can find out more information about my live streams, podcasts, and events that we run at the Video Confidence Coach at vcc.training. Yes, that is the whole URL, VCC, Video Confidence Coach, .training. Yes. The reason I repeat that is just because I've had a couple of people ask, where's the .com? Where's the .au? No, the .training is my .com. Because part of what I do, obviously, is getting people to the stage that they need to be at to build their personal brand, and that involves an aspect of training. But before we officially begin today, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians on the land on which I conduct my business today. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people continue to face discrimination and disadvantage due to our country's colonial past. I stand with them in their fight against injustice, always was, always will be Aboriginal land. And I thank everyone, both mob and ally, that I met or got a chance to meet on Survival Day this past weekend. It was beautiful to meet you all at the rally and getting a chance to know more about my the place where I live and the people who are the custodians of that land. It was an honour to meet you all. And I look forward to seeing you again at future events that we have on the Indigenous calendar later this year. Nothing springs to mind. I have a list that I could get, but don't worry, I will definitely see you there. And if not, I'm very close to the Wadawurrung Co-op, so I can always keep on top of whatever they've got going on over there. So carrying on with today, I've got a nice list in front of me of things to catch on. Thank you for everyone who has noticed my recently dyed hair. Yes, it is big, it is blue, it is very, very intense today. And that's just because I only dyed it yesterday. So it's going to be very bright for a little bit, and then it's going to mellow down as I don't re-dye it because I'm too lazy. But first of all, I want to let people know about my current focus or my current product that I'm offering small business owners and personal brand builders, my Glow and Grow my Glow and Grow branding session, which is $350 for 1 hour of your time and a large build-up of, essentially, we're going to break down your personal brand and give you actionable tips that you're able to achieve to help grow you in 2025. You can find more details in the show notes below, or you can check out my website, vcc.training/glow+grow. I do like my little pluses, mainly because me and the ampersand have beef. I'll let you know about that later. I want to thank everyone at the Geelong Waterfront Geelong waterfront professionals that I met yesterday. It was beautiful to finally meet you all. I've heard so much about you. And I give you all of the props for the rest of this year, because it's going to be an interesting year, and I hope that you all get a lot of good business out of it. So I look forward to seeing you again as I guest on probably someone else's ticket for wherever we are. As it is the start of the year, so it is currently, as I'm recording this, the 31st of January 2025. So that means school is back. Work is fully back and everyone's getting back into it. So I'm definitely feeling that, and I'm sure you are feeling that too. So is your marketing plan to attract the right leads and attract the right customers, is that working for you? Is it not working for you? We are still at the start of the year where it's, you can always make a change at any point in the year. But if you feel like the start of the year is the year and the time to make that change, feel free to reach out to me. Again, you can find me at g'day, so that's GDAY, at vcc.training, which is my email address, or you can just find me again at my website, vcc.training. I'm plugging that a lot lately. Let's move on. As we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline for Video Confidence Coach, there's nothing that I can speak about right now because everything's all still up in the air, mainly because, and I'm sure anyone who deals with government or deals with larger corporations, everything's kind of slow and skeleton crewed until around this time of year, and then you've got the decision makers coming back on board as of February. So I'm here. Let's work. And that will be February and March as we lead on to the year. But if you are in the Glen Iris area, make sure to check out Nadine Riley. It is one of my mentee clients who is an Indigenous artist, and she's currently got an exhibition running through February in the Marigi Art Gallery in Glen Iris. 100 High Street, Glen Iris. So if you're there, make sure you check it out. You can check out all the details on the website. Just search and you'll be able to find all the details about that. You can definitely check out our artwork in the flesh before it all gets sold. Carrying on to the next thing, again, apologies if I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. This is my intro just to let you know everything that's happening in the past year, and then we go straight into podcast recordings where things are going to be a little, and when I say a little, I mean a lot more contained in what they do and how they do it. So the other things that we have coming down the pipeline, because everything is happening, as I said, it is February as of like tomorrow, so all of a sudden everything's happening at once. So what we have is, we have the first Unboring Your Brand podcast episode going to be released this year. It's going to be released on Sunday. So that's February 2nd at 3 p.m. That's going to be released. I don't expect you to download it straight away. You can watch it or listen to it on the Mondays and the weeks following on. You can find out all the details on your podcast. You can follow us on your podcast catcher of choice, or you can find out more in the show notes or at vcc.training/podcast. So thank you everyone for your patience during this rebrand. Last year I was kind of like, I was calling it the Video Confidence Coach Cast because I didn't have a name for it. And then I've worked with my mentors, and I've worked with business partners, and I've worked with various people. And I thank you everyone for helping me solidify a name, the Unboring Your Brand podcast, because nothing about how I look or act is boring. So that will be there for you. And as of Sunday as well at 3 p.m, because I like to keep everything in sync, we have the first of the Vic Podcasters podcast being released on Sunday. So if you are interested in joining us on either LinkedIn, Facebook, or our email newsletter, and to be honest, the email newsletter is kind of better. I'm saying that not just to get you on board, but because that's where I'm going to be holding a lot of the important information that the platforms are probably not going to let me share. Because links, you're making people leave the platform. Yes, because I'm educating them. Duh. Okay. And you can find all of those details, there you guessed it, on vcc.training/Vic-podcasters. So if you're in... Ooh, my apologies. Ooh. If you are in Victoria and you are interested in podcasting or already a podcaster and you're seeking some community of people who are like-minded and who are on the same journey as you to grow their podcast, make sure you check us out at Vic Podcasters on Facebook, LinkedIn, or you can find us out on vcc.training/vic-podcasters to find all the details out there. And all right, I'm gonna do it again. Okay. Apologies for that. No, I'm not dead. I'm not dying, even though I went for a walk and the pollen tried to get me. Yes, pollen is an all year round thing. Yes, it's just more intense during spring, but not as much now. So let me digress. Let me focus. Hey, it's Zoe. Are you in need of a VA? Like, I mean, an absolute gun of a person who is good at marketing, at admin, at data entry, can run your life or your business. I know someone perfect for you. So reach out to me here or either email me at zoe@vcc.training and I will give you all the details to meet this lovely woman who will be the absolute goldmine to help you in your productivity goals. Sometimes you need a VA to help you out. See you soon. Thank you for standing with me with that one. That was just a little ad that I wanted to quickly do that I'm going to run on my LinkedIn. When I say ad, I don't mean actual paid advertisement. A friend of mine is a virtual assistant and she's in needing of some more clients. So make sure that I promote and help her out on that since I'm put on the effort, not too much effort, but put on the effort, and we are here to help out. So what I'm going to do today is we are going to record some podcast episodes. So as the title suggests, we are going to be covering feeling burnt out from your marketing activities. And we're going to run an older episode of The Funny Thing About Assumptions, which has been a surprising favorite, despite the fact that it's not strictly about like business mindset or marketing. It's just a very fun story that people enjoy reciting to their friends, and they like the opportunity to do that. So we're going to start off with, my feeling is that we might start off with the assumptions, because since everyone liked it so much, and I will leave you to it in that moment. Being confident in your product service skill and would definitely be a help despite nerves and stage fright. I completely agree, because once, say for example, if you are new in your business, I completely understand. You have both the nerves of I'm new at this, I could make, like, there's so many mistakes I'm going to make, as well as being nervous of getting yourself out there in front of the camera or behind the camera to show your business to the world. There is a different special type of fear involving that. But once you have a bit more confident in your own skills to be able to produce the product or service that you actually do in your business, then you can rest a little bit more on your laurels and give yourself a little bit more of a hug, going, okay, this will be okay. I can do this. Because you will have a bit more confidence in the work that you can produce and the clients that you can help. And hopefully, if those clients that you've worked with or customers that you've sold to are able to give you good feedback, that'll even give you even more robustness to be able to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm okay with this. Giving me that good feedback loop to be able to start producing videos or reaching out on social media to people like your past clients. Would you like some goss? Come closer. I have some gossip for you. So, you will not believe what happened to me the other day. I was at a masterclass and I got this death stare from this other woman. Do you want to find out why? Keep listening. Welcome everyone to the podcast today, and thank you for that little whispering intro, and I apologize for everyone who enjoys ASMR. I am not an ASMR artist, and I probably wasn't giving you much of the tingles. But today I wanted to talk and break down a little bit of a funny anecdote about assumptions, but then leading into an actual story and reasoning, which is what we do at the podcast. This is why we have podcasts like this, to be able to lead you through a story and bring you along for the journey to be able to realize your own assumptions that you might be having within your business. So, let's get started with today's story. Now, of course, we're already talking about assumptions, how they're made, how things can go wildly wrong, and why it's worth rethinking your assumptions. Not just about yourself, maybe assumptions about people that you work with, maybe your clients, or maybe your collaborators / competition, depending on how you look on it, and other areas of your business that you have not really interrogated at all. So let's dive in today. So here is the story. So let me take you all the way back. This is earlier this year. I went to a series of masterclasses about everything from, say, SEO to podcasting to brand reputation to pretty much a lot of the marketing classes. Because as you can imagine, with someone who is marketing wise, I enjoy going to events where they're not exactly aimed at someone who maybe has my experience, but I want to see other people in the room of how they're reacting to the information that's being presented, because I run regular speaking opportunities. So when I have the opportunity to actually sit in and watch other people do it, I take those notes when I can. But this is even before the masterclass. So I'm sitting outside. It's winter, it's cold, but I'm sitting there on this like little patio area outside of the masterclass venue. And I'm sitting there before the event starts, and I'm doing a little bit of personal and business at the same time. So I've got both my phones out. So I have both a personal phone and a business phone. The reason being is that I personally find it nice and very relaxing to be able to turn my business phone off at the end of the day. So I'm not running after client. I'm not doing all the things when I should be focusing on my family, where I should be focusing on my sleep, where I'm focusing on these things that are not supposed to be, me. I'm able to have the luxury of having another phone that essentially it's my old partner's phone, but it's a personal phone that I can pay for and use. So I digress. So I was using these two phones because I was doing a little bit of like life admin as well as like business admin, and just kind of doing a bit between the two, and I was kind of bouncing between the two. And there I was just sitting there in front of the class. The class wasn't starting for like another 15 minutes. So I'm like, I've got time. And then this woman comes past, and she catches my eye because she's looking directly at me. She's staring right at me. So I lift my head up thinking, do we know each other? Do I say hi? Like, oh, we're just about into, like, that's what's my assumption. And this woman, who I did not recognize and did not know, was just giving me the worst death stare. She was walking past with a scrunched up face, death stare, looking at me, like down the eyes, down through her brows, and then storms into the session. And of course, I'm left naturally wondering, do I know her? Did I do something wrong? What's the deal? Did I cut her off in traffic? I did not drive here that day. What? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh crap, what have I done? And of course, the session is about to begin like within that next couple of minutes. So I'm like, okay, all right. So collect ourselves, put my phones on silent, put them in the bag, go inside, do the session. So it was a beautiful session. I was there also to learn, but also as to support the presenter, who's a good business friend of mine. And after the session, so we had the session and then we had a bit of a break, and she was talking with other people. So I thought, no, don't worry. I won't give her, too much. I won't approach her just yet. And then after the session, I thought, okay, at this point, we'd gone through the event. I had asked regular questions. It was a small enough event where people introduced who they were. So I did that, like everyone else did. And then after the session had finished, I got up and she was standing there at the back of the room. So I get up and I approached her and I just said, hi. And her face immediately was sunken, was sullen. And I'm like, oh crap. It was a little bit, like internally I was a little bit crap, but on the outside I'm like, hi. Because I'm like, I'm not entirely sure what I'm walking into. But again, at this point, we've been sitting in the same room for an hour and a half. We've got some sort of camaraderie here. So I'm approaching her and I ask her just like, hi, I'm doing, I noticed before that you looked very upset with me before. I'm just checking in with how you're feeling. Coming across, to be honest, my initial thought was, I know you from somewhere. Because the way that you're looking at me is like, you know me. Crap, I don't know who you are, or I don't remember who you are. I'm going to pretend I'm going in that middle ground of like, we probably know each other because of the way you're looking at me. Okay. So, I'm going in there with, of course, the mindset of giving her space to talk, giving her space that if she doesn't want to talk, that leaving her alone, that's perfectly fine. Because, life happens. I get it. Sometimes, it's not the best day. Stuff happens. I get it. So of course I'm there just, asking her like, checking in with how she's doing. At this point, I kind of got an idea of what business she was representing. So I thought, okay, I asked her a couple of questions about that and she wasn't really giving me much response. She was giving me one-word answers. So I'm like, okay, it's clear that like I'm either making you uncomfortable or like my presence is off-putting for you. Okay, I'm just going to walk over and, chat to the presenter or some other people that I already know in the space. And as I was about to go, and as I was about to say, thank you for your time, it was great to see you, turn around, I was about to walk away. She says, wait. And I immediately pivot back and go, yes? And she sheepishly said in a very low voice, I thought you were one of those. And I come in a little closer to her. Now, of course, in this time, I'm giving her I'm giving her plenty of personal space. Again, keeping in mind that she'd not given me the best clues to begin with. So I'm like, okay. So I came in a little closer because she was speaking so softly. And I said, one of what? And a bit of toing and froing. She eventually said, I thought you were one of those escorts. Now, I want to stress, starting off from this podcast, that being an escort or a sex worker is real work. It is hard work. I have never done it myself because personally I do not have the work ethic for it. And for those people who are doing that work, hats off to you. You do a very good job for society. And it is a job that I could never see myself doing just because of the amount of essentially a lot of crap you have to put up with. I digress. So back to it. So she thought I was an escort. And at first I was taken aback because I'm like, what has, and I just remember breathing in and going, what gives you that impression? Not, okay, I want to stress, I'm not, poo-pooing it. I'm not denying it. I'm not like being like, ugh, because that is not the right way to react around someone's profession. I was just went, what gave you that idea? Am I giving off the wrong signals in the way that I network or present myself in my personal brand? And her reasoning was that I had 2 phones. And that was a telltale sign. And again, I paused. And at this point, we're fairly close together physically. Other people are around and they're kind of like, going out, leaving the building. They're kind of hovering around. And I'm getting close to her and I'm making sure not to speak too loudly. And I just said, what? Can you explain that for me, please? Again, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. And also, again, giving her enough space that if she needs to go, she can go. And then, of course, she begins to tell me about her ex-husband had some interesting choices. And, you can fill in the blanks from there. And the way that, and she had finally, come across the people that he was hiring, and the way that she was able to visually identify them was they, had 2 phones. And I took a breath and I paused and I said, okay, well, and at this point she had raised her head and I said, well, as we've discussed today, I'm a business owner. I have a personal and a private phone because I want to be able to finish my business. Like I want to be able to turn off my business life. I don't want to be on it 24/7. And then again, I'm there like pausing myself. I'm not entirely sure what to say to this woman. Again, this stranger, keeping in mind that this stranger that I had barely met. And I just said to her that I'm sorry to hear what you're going through. And I hope that you're able to move on from this part of your life quickly and without issue. I was choosing my words very carefully. And she said, okay. And then proceeded to grab her bag and walk out fairly briskly. And at that point, I just breathed in a couple of times and went, okay. Then turned around and carried on my business, talking with people that I know. So of course, with the story that I've just told you, I want to reiterate that sometimes people's assumptions have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own baggage. Now, we're moving on from the story part of today's podcast to the actual learnings from today's podcast. So as you can imagine, thank you everyone for enjoying me, for indulging me in that gossip. And of course, this stranger, it's a story that I want to tell, and I'm going to do my best to, not give away any identifying information, because it's understandable. Things happen, our lives happen, and ultimately we all do it. We all have assumptions in our brains that are like shortcuts. And they help us make sense of things quickly to be able to help us survive. But often they miss the mark because we don't have the context of what's going on, or maybe we have some of the context but not all of the context, or in most cases, we feel like we know the context, but then we're quickly proven wrong via the context that surrounds us. In my case, just because someone has 2 phones does not mean they're living a double life. And it does not mean that they're not contributing to society. It just means that I value my work-life balance, that I love the ability to be able to switch off my business phone when I want to focus on my family and my rest time. And in those moments, for example, it may not have been easy for her to overcome what she was currently dealing with and ask me. But to react in such, I would say, a very dramatic way, and that's coming from me, by the way, a very dramatic way. It was not a case of me wanting to people please, but it was more of a case of the disgust, the anger, the sullenness that she was showcasing was like, are you okay? As a human being, are you okay? And if something doesn't make sense, or if something is so confronting to you, just asking is a reasonable thing to do. Now, of course, with context, and especially when I'm speaking to adults, because if you're a kid watching or listening to me, best of luck to you. But usually most of the time I'm talking to adults. You have context, you have understanding of what's going on. And if you're not feeling safe enough to ask, then sure, don't ask. But then don't act erratically in exchange. Yes, it's less awkward and it means that you don't get the wrong idea at the end of the day. But assumptions can ultimately hurt you and ultimately hurt your business. And this is where we wrap it into the personal brand, folks. When your personal brand is very linked to the work that you do or the actions that you take. Now, of course, sometimes some of these actions aren't exactly your, entirely your prerogative. But when it comes to building and growing your personal brand, assumptions can lead to hurt. They can lead to unnecessary tension with, with other clients, with other suppliers, with other referrals, with other people in your network, or even people outside of your network. That unresolved, unnecessary tension can turn things like a business networking session or a masterclass into a soap opera. And I don't really have any interest in pursuing that, frankly, in the work that I do and in the way that I network. Yes, gossip is fun, and I'm going to do a podcast episode in the future about gossiping and how it's actually useful in the world of business. But when it comes to the assumptions that you do, they can also skew how people ultimately perceive you before they truly get to know you and the work that you do. I've mentioned just in previous live streams and other podcasts that I've done, I've also mentioned how people make assumptions of me. They think that I'm silly, that I'm frivolous because I dress brightly colored and then I have crazy makeup and crazy hair. It's because it's fun, because it's enjoyable, because it's unboring. The podcast you're listening to. It's fun. And as an adult, we lose a lot of that fun. And when it comes to assumptions, thinking negatively of someone can only lead to tension and upset with the other relationships that you have with people, but also just with the wider world that you have around you. If everything is out to get you, everything looks like a knife. So what can we do instead? So before jumping to conclusions, we can pause and reflect and take a moment to check the facts that we have already. Now, of course, you can definitely draw assumptions and conclusions from that, but taking a moment not to just react or act aggressively or act like something that could possibly put you in danger. Like if I was someone who would, the type of person who would see the actions of that woman walking in and then go and accost her. Now, I want to stress, I would not do that. But some people come with their own baggage. And if they see the absolute disgust on their face, they might take action. And again, that is an assumption of my own. But I want to stress, being able to take that time to pause and reflect is also useful just in your daily life and also is a good meditative practice. Making sure that you stay in a state of being curious, but not judgy. If you're unsure of something, if you don't know what it's like to live in this person's life day to day, approach the situation with curiosity, not criticism. If going back to the example, if the woman saw my 2 phones and, immediately made the assumptions and conclusions in her head, she could have easily just went, okay, and then just moved on. Did not immediately go down the criticism spiral and become very upset. Not just for her sake, but possibly for mine and for other people in the room. And the last thing that I want to stress for a way that you can deal with these assumptions is to let it go. Not everything needs your immediate reaction. And if it is not directly impacting you, you can let it slide. And as you build your personal brand, you have your missions and your values of what you stand by. And then there is stuff outside of that. Yes, you're allowed to have an opinion on it. And if it affects you, sure, speak your piece. But if it doesn't affect you, I want to hear stories. I want to hear the lived experience from the people that do have that experience on a day-to-day level. When talking about the bigger picture and coming back to marketing, because that's what we do here at the Video Confidence Coach, unboring your brand. Going back to marketing, assumptions are everywhere. And of course, because we don't always have all the information at hand, life would be very boring if we did. People assume ads are trying to manipulate them, while brands assume customers are blindly trusting them. Why? Because there are so many examples of that happening in the past. There are so many bad actors out there. But at the end of the day, people are just wanting to live their lives. They want enough money to feed themselves and their family. They want to support their community. And I guess that might be an assumption on my end, but at the end of the day, we're all human. I think that's a pretty decent assumption to make. So let's aim for clarity and connection, whether in business and everyday life. Always think of the bigger picture, not just in the work that you're doing to grow your personal brand, but to build yourself as a human being. We've got one life, and it seems a bit silly to spend that time of spending your energy on thoughts and things that don't exist, especially things that you can't confirm. My closing thoughts for today is that assumptions, yes, they're unavoidable, but they don't have to define us or our actions, be it when we show up on our personal brand, when we show up in our business, or when we show up in our personal lives. The next time you catch yourself making an assumption or a grand assumption about someone's actions, thoughts, feelings, what have you, give yourself a pause, Ask yourself, why am I thinking this? And then let it go. If it is putting you in danger, of course, do not let it go. Take action accordingly to not put yourself in danger. But I digress. And if you ever see someone with 2 phones, maybe just assume they're just working really hard. And not living a secret life, or utilizing it for nefarious means, because again, sex work is real work. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Unboring Your Brand and joining me on this lovely gossip, story, assumption-filled train where you can remember to choose curiosity over judgment, both in your personal and your business life. Next time, we're going to check on, I'm sure, some other useful things regarding your personal brand. We're going to be talking more marketing things definitely next week. And hopefully you can use this time to keep learning, keep growing, and maybe leave your assumptions at the door. So you've heard that the algorithm on many socials favors faces. And yes, that is definitely true, because humans like to connect with faces. We like to see other faces and we like to see what they look like and what they're about. And on social media, and especially the algorithm, is based on our actions and the actions of whatever the social media overlords want us to do. But I digress. So if you are able to get your face onto camera and you're confident about having your face out there, then do it. Practice a couple of times, maybe even film a different couple of videos before you put anything out there. And then once you put that video out there, make sure that you share it with the community, like us here, or you share the video to other groups that you're a part of, maybe just to get some feedback on what you can improve on, in a nice way, of course, because people are willing to support other people. And the algorithm favors a lot of things at any different time. I highly recommend that you don't dictate your actions of creating content or videos based entirely on what the algorithm is going to do. Because unfortunately, it's a beast all in itself, and nobody knows what it's doing at any given time. Feeling burnt out and it's already the start of the year, I completely empathize with you, and we're going to talk about how to understand those signs, see those signs, and be able to avoid them entirely, or at least get them to a manageable level for yourself and your business. Yes, welcome to the Unboring Your Brand podcast with me, your host, Zoe, the Video Confidence Coach. Burnout is a serious thing, and I myself experienced a cycle of it for a very long time. Growing up, it was my coping mechanism, to be perfectly honest. I would push myself to absolute burnout, push myself to ridiculous burnout, and then sleep for 1 or 2 days and then get back up and do it all over again. As you can imagine, that's not great for your mental, your physical, and your emotional health, but it's also not great for just maintaining relationships and having that energy and priority all completely out of whack at any given point. And with the current world changes, news and events, changes in politics, and honestly the rise of hostility that I'm sure some of us have witnessed in the past, and it feels like history is repeating itself. And with the addition of platforms, social media platforms leaving and coming back, and I'm not talking purely about like the TikTok American thing, even though that was all that was discussed about online. There is a lot of those factors that now it is coming into play, where it's becoming more on the broader stage, where a lot of these governments do have the power to, ban and get rid of these tools that we use to communicate and market our business and market our personal brands. So, with everyone wanting peace and with everything feeling very much in turmoil, you can understand why you're feeling burnt out. And if you have not understood that feeling, let me break it down for you. So specifically, let's talk about marketing, because of course, the Video Confidence Coach, we talk about marketing here. It is my shtick. I mainly talk about video marketing and personal branding because that is my area of expertise, but marketing as a whole, let's just think about it that way for us. Marketing burnout is that dreaded point, so that you can see yourself getting to that point, or maybe you're already there, where the marketing, your personal brand or your business, feels like a chore instead of something that fuels your business. Now, some of you may be listening or watching and saying, Zoe, I already feel like that. I hate marketing. Ugh. I get it. But there's usually a point where it kind of becomes that little bit extra for you. A lot of people who I work with find that they've gotten to that point of burnout before they come and seek guidance or my services. They usually feel overwhelmed that their alliances, their processes, and everything that they've done to kind of get through this point has all failed them. They dread doing their to-do list, especially when it comes to marketing. And they just don't give an F anymore. I've been told not to swear. They honestly just don't care anymore about what their marketing says, what it does. Let's just slap a quote post up on Instagram and call it a day. Now, if you do that, I'm not accusing you of anything. I do that too at sometimes. Marketing your business is a creative outlet. For a lot of small business owners and a lot of personal brand builders, it is a hobby that is like an addition to your business. It allows you to be creative with your brand, that allows you to take out of the mundanity of working in your business to working on your business and helping you generate leads, generate interest, and also build your authority in this space. No matter what space you're in, you need to build authority in it for people to come to you, recognize you, and trust you. And lastly, promote you to everyone else that they know. And if you want those people that they're like giving you good word of mouth from, especially if you've worked with them or given them products or given them services, they're going to research you. We're no longer in the day of just, oh, my uncle told me this, I'm going to take it wholeheartedly and go down to the shops and do this. No, we're no longer in that point. We need proof that what they're saying and what they're doing is true. We need to make sure that the story lines up with what we can actually find and research about said company, said business, said personal brand. But coming back to us, why we feel burnt out. Now, there's plenty of reasons, and I'm sure you've rattled off a few in your head. But let's start off with a couple of the obvious ones. There is too much pressure, either with yourself, putting it on yourself to do marketing that may or may not be your strong suit, or pressure outside, either staff or people that you work with, or maybe even your clients. There's just a lot of pressure to be posting daily, to respond to every comment, and to make viral-worthy content on a regular basis. If that is not your shtick, if that is something that you feel like you need to succeed in your personal brand or your business, I'm going to tell you now that it's not. Also, trying to seek virality is not sustainable. And to be honest, with a lot of the people that I work with, I completely push that idea out. Not just because it is something that you can't obtain easily or consistently. And there are plenty of people who have gone viral and then immediately crashed, because virality is not something that people should aim for. Like getting a lot of numbers or getting a lot of follows or likes. Unless those people are turning into leads for you and your brand, forget about it. Coming back to the list. Comparing yourself against others. Now, of course, I have a lot of people that I work with, and I'm sure you come across yourself, is they're very good at scrolling their feeds, looking at what other people are doing, specifically on social media, but also in their email inboxes, in billboards and flyers, on other people's websites. They're very good at scrolling and looking and thinking of these things. But then they don't have any sort of time or creativity to think about how they can apply that to their own brand. They just think, why can't it look like that? I'm really shit at this. They ultimately feel worse. They're constantly comparing themselves. The second last thing I want to mention is having no boundaries. So what I mean by this is you can feel burnt out when you run out of energy. That's just in a day-to-day burnout. But specifically with marketing burnout is because you're putting it on such a low priority on your list, and you've not invested any sort of thinking time, doing time, or actioning time to be able to get that thing to be done just the last thing that you do at the end of the day. Time that you should be spending with your family or by yourself or with your pets, any opportunity to just, or even friends, those exist too though, your chance to relax is being pushed out by having to do this marketing, or maybe setting yourself goals that you, at the first, when you set them, made sense. You can definitely reach those goals. And then things have started to fall apart as the year has progressed. And the last thing that can contribute to marketing burnout specifically is doing it all yourself. When solo marketing is your stuff, it is a grind and it can be brutal. And especially if you are throwing everything out into the ether with not really a plan, but kind of a general guide, and nothing's coming back to you, nothing positive, nothing negative, nothing in between, it can feel so disheartening. You get told to be consistent, but it feels like no one's listening. Because honestly, they're probably not. And unless you do something incredibly controversial or sickening, I don't recommend that you do that. It can feel like you're becoming a content creator or a YouTuber or being a video editor over actually putting your message out there in a sustainable way for you. Something that honestly, for a lot of brands, should be a fun activity when it comes to marketing yourself, can just be completely burnt out. And for those of us who have never found it fun, I'm going to question what you do to make things creative within what creative aspects do you do in your business on a day-to-day basis? I would love to know. Feel free to comment or send me an email. I'd love to have a chat. Now that we've talked about what burnout can eventually look like, what does it look like before it actually happens? How do you spot the burnout, again, specifically the marketing burnout, before it actually takes over your business and takes over your life? Because for a lot of us who are working on building a personal brand, on building our businesses, this is our life. It may be maybe a part-time or a casual in regards to hours, but it's the thing we're focusing on. It's the thing that we're putting effort into. So you can definitely understand why, if this part is you're feeling burnt out by, you find yourself procrastinating over every single marketing task because it just falls into that bucket for you. You're just you're completely over it and everything falls into the junk drawer and you never see it again. You say things that you're going to do and then you never do them. You mention to people, oh, I'll post about that, or I'll share that, or I'll mention that, and then nothing happens. And then, of course, you don't look good because you don't fulfill your promises. But then you also don't look good because you're not, you're just looking tired and feeling tired too. Your creativity for not just marketing activities, but creativity within your business tanks. Your fresh ideas poof out of your head and become tumbleweeds in the night sky. You also end up feeling resentful towards your own marketing and maybe efforts that you've done, or maybe efforts that you've hired other people to do in the past. You keep thinking and hating what you did in the past because it means that you've set the bar a bit too high for yourself, or maybe it's just that consistency is no longer working for you and you become resentful for past you for putting you into this position in the first place. So I'm going to say now, past you had plans, past you had motivations, and do not worry. It is okay to feel this way. This happens. This happens to businesses like myself, marketing coaches like myself. There's plenty of times we've fallen off the bandwagon for our own marketing. Why? Because we're focusing on our clients, which is what we like to do. I'm a good example of that. I do have a tendency with social media in particular. I kind of just put it on the lowest priority and then everything kind of falls. Don't worry, I'll do it again when I care. But this episode is not just for you, but it's also for me as well. I want to go into now ways to beat that marketing burnout. So we've already established what it is and how it feels, and we already know what it looks like before we get there. Now let's figure out ways and tactics and actions we can take proactively to make sure that we don't reach that point of burnout. Now, I do say this with all my heart and all my love. You are going to experience marketing burnout with any and all of these tips because it's just going to happen within your brand. You are going to come across periods of time within your life where you're just going to hit that point of breaking. These actions, these following tools can help you not reach that as often, but it's still going to happen regardless because your life is your life. Your life is busy and your life has things that need to ebb and flow and be flexible. That is why we build our personal brands, to keep our lives flexible. First thing that you start off with is setting realistic goals. Now, again, back into the realm of marketing, we are talking about realistic goals, not like, hey, I'm going to post 3 times a day. What does that even mean? You start thinking not just too hard, but you just overdoing it yourself for honestly not a whole lot of or a little bit of return. So focusing on the platforms that are going to guarantee you the leads that are going to generate the snowball effect for your business to help you expand your systems and your reliability later on. Set yourself realistic goals on platforms that you've either gotten leads from in the past or you've got a lot of engagement from. I'm not saying that you need to crash and burn all the other platforms. I'm just saying in those realistic goals, and for anyone who has followed my work in the past, what is your BFM? What is your bare effing minimum when it comes to your marketing goals? And set them nice and low so you can jump over them. You can make them really easy for yourself. And focusing on the quantity over the quality of your content is detrimental. So when it comes to setting realistic goals, not really thinking about the numbers per se, but thinking about, okay, realistically, what is my bare effing minimum? That would be more in the realm of, okay, I could do 2 posts a week. One of them being a repost of previous content that I've done because I invested all that money into, that social media producer from a year ago. For example, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just giving you an example. So in that case, okay, well, realistically, instead of doing, 5 posts a week, I can do 2. I can do 1 of repurposing older content with a new description and maybe a little bit of editing if I feel like it. And then have another post, be it an image, be it a carousel, be it a video or nice short video that, again, reminds people that you exist. Give them the answers to the questions that they're seeking. And if something is related to the news that's about and about, because, trending people like stuff, that will give you a lot more boost to engagement rather than just constantly recycling all the stuff that may not be as relevant to your industry and your niche. Because again, setting those realistic goals, you are trying to think about what is going to make me the authority in the space. And making the authority in the space includes, that's right, actually being responding back to important news and events around your industry. And maybe something that doesn't even directly affect your industry. Maybe in your opinion and your expertise, you say, oh, this is definitely going to affect us. I should let people know. There you go. You've done 2 posts a week, and that is more sustainable to be able to work within your business. Because when it comes to marketing, it is an engine in your car that you can push or let go when it comes to the accelerator. So do you need to get more money in fast? Okay, leading into, not when you're desperate for money, when you're leading into needing more money, you can run maybe some more posts, run some ads, run some lead magnets, run some events, run some tools. When you're leading into that time when you're not going to have as much income or money to cash flow run the business. And in those moments where you are so flat off your feet that you are busy, that you don't have time, take your foot off the accelerator. Go back to that bare effing minimum. Okay, let that go, let that do its thing. And then we can start pushing down that accelerator when the time comes. And again, leading into it is more important than trying to be like, oh crap, we're almost out of clients. Slamming the accelerator. It's going to jerk everyone forward and give everyone neck pain for the next 10 years. Back to the thing, I'm digressing, Zoe. Make sure, as a way to beat your burnout, is to check your priorities. Focusing on what is important for you. Now, I'm not talking just about platforms. I'm talking about your priorities for your business. What is your values? What is your mission? What is your vision for your business? And your marketing is supposed to be a tool that is going to help you achieve that values and mission and vision. I should actually remember the order of that, sorry. So in those moments, what are your priorities? And say, for example, if posting on Instagram is not a priority for you, but you enjoy it, make it a priority for yourself. So to keep you engaged and out there. But again, coming back to those priorities that are going to work for your business. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, breaking it down into those smaller chunks that you can do effectively and consistently over time is going to make it easier. And to make it easier, I do recommend for my clients to start writing down your creative ideas when you have them. Your brain is not a computer. There's been a couple of people that, relate to your brain to your computer. What I mean by that is a computer is a set of hard drives that can recall information when you go out and reach for it and bring it back. Your brain is very good at coming up with ideas on the fly. It is very dynamic. It is something that moves very fast. But when it comes to storing information, it's okay sometimes, but it's not as great as simply writing the idea down, as recording either a voice note or putting that information into a Google Doc or, a Word document that you back up somewhere. Please back this up. Again, putting it down so it's no longer sitting in your brain like burning a hole. It's sitting in whatever document you need. And when it comes time to thinking about this content or thinking about the things that you want to say to your customers, you don't have to think off the fly. You've got a list of relevant things, of stories that you've come across from your clients, or maybe someone's, purchased a product off you and they gave a really sweet review. And you want to talk about it and highlight that review and highlight that story of someone buying from you. About your client success stories, just to name a few. Do not rely on your brain to be the computer, so you don't have to be... Now, I thought this was very smart when I wrote this, so I'm going to read it out. You don't have your brain to recall your computer brain like it's a Windows XP computer trying to book... when it's a Windows XP computer trying to book flights at Christmas. I'm very proud of that one. For those who aren't in the know, a lot of airlines still run on Windows XP, which is, I think about 4 to 5 versions of Windows back. So we're talking like 2002 was when this was in its heyday. And it is quite scary that a lot of these very major companies who have very intricate processes are relying on such older computers. Let's keep going for ourselves, can we? So as a way to help you check your priorities and set realistic goals, and making sure that when you're writing down your ideas, you can batch your content ahead of time. Working smarter, not harder. You can set aside a day, or in some cases, set aside an hour or two, getting that list of ideas and create content in bulk. So you can either record a couple of videos in bulk, or put ideas into words and put it into blogs, or again, whatever system. Now, of course, if you are unclear of where to even go in the direction when it comes to marketing, feel free to reach out to me. I offer a 15-minute free session of just a chat of like, hey, let's get your priorities straight. I'm here for you. So make sure you reach out to me on my website. But when it comes to, thinking of creating things in bulk, so you don't have to scramble every day for the content that you need. You can go creating the content in bulk, scheduling it a month in advance so that you've got that bare minimum going on in the background. And if something comes up in your industry, yes, put a post out. Don't worry. And then in those moments when there's not a whole lot going on, you've got that consistency going on in the background, not just for social media posts, but for email lists too, for website updates, for blogs, for whatever you're doing to help promote your brand that you enjoy doing is the thing that you're going to do, because that probably works better for solo creators. If those things do not work, so if you're still finding yourself grinding your teeth going, I hate marketing, Zoe, this is an absolute tool of a thing to do, may I recommend, Dr. Zoe here, I'm going to recommend you take a break. Just take a break from your marketing. Give yourself 2 weeks and making sure that you schedule in time to actually revisit this. So you're not just kicking the can down the road for the next millennia, but taking a break from your marketing. If it is burning you out so heavily, to take a break, not just from the act of actually creating content and marketing your business, but to actually take that time to not doom scroll, to think about why you do what you do. If you're so off your feet, you shouldn't be doom scrolling. That is a message for both you and me. So come back stronger in a week, in 2 weeks, whatever time that you need. but make sure that you schedule in that time in your calendar to come back, give yourself an hour or two to understand the lay of the land, where things have been coming and where things have been going in your brand, to then make that decision. Also, in that moment, for example, let's just say you're grinding your teeth, absolutely hate marketing. You come back and you think, Zoe, I hate this, I don't want to do this. You have two options. You can outsource. So instead of you doing the work, get someone else to do it. If it's in your budget and in your energy and in your time, you can hire help, either an in-person or a virtual assistant, to be able to help you with both editing, writing, and generating content, even brainstorming in the background, to help you with the hardest parts of that marketing journey. I highly recommend not handing everything over regarding your personal brand or your business just to someone else and say, have at it, go at it, I'm going to focus on this. Because marketing your brand is the public face of your business. Marketing is your public face of your business. So if you do not have control of it, if you do not set out the guides, if you do not set out the parameters that people need to understand, this is what we want to achieve, this is why we want to achieve it, and this is who we want to target with our marketing, you are absolutely wasting your money when it comes to marketing. So outsourcing is a completely different ballgame that I can discuss at a later podcast episode. But in those moments, if you feel like you need to outsource it, you are going to have to invest that time to find someone or a team to do it for you. You're going to have to educate them on what you do and making sure that they actually reflect very clearly what you do. And then you're going to have to run at least 2 or 3 months, if you're including ads as well, at least 6 months, worth of making sure that that actually is working out, that the team that you're working with is doing what it needs to do and you're actually happy with it. Yes, that is more time and more energy, but is that what you need? Awesome. Do it. If that is not what you need, and you don't need that headache of trying to manage other people while you're also managing your clients, your staff, and whoever else you already have on board, then what can you automate? What tools are going to help you achieve those goals, those realistic goals that we already set, and going to help you focus on those priorities? What tools can you use to automate things? Now, of course, I can go through a list, but I do realize that I have talked and yapped a long time on this episode. So you can go back to previous episodes and check the show notes for those, previous podcasts where I talk about automated tools that can help you with your marketing. And don't worry, we're on the home stretch here. So if you're sick of my yapping, don't worry, we're almost there. The things to prevent burnout in the future. So of course, we've already talked about things leading up to it. And now to wholeheartedly protect yourself in your branding and business endeavors, you can do these following things. Planning ahead. Giving your future self a little bit of a, don't worry, I gotcha. Because past self has been doing a lot of nasty things to you. So making sure that you have a calendar in front of you and give yourself enough time to plan and prepare things. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some space. If you are finding marketing very much a chore and you're getting to that burnout stage, taking that break, even if it is a small break, doing that and giving yourself that time. Celebrating small wins. You will have no idea how much I celebrated when I got my first lead through my social marketing endeavors. Like I got a lead, this woman said, I love your vibe, I love everything that you do, I want to know more about this. I sent it to the website, she filled in the form straight away, bada bing, bada boom, and everything that I was doing worked out really well. And that only happened after consistency, after showing my face, after doing what I needed to do. Now again, I'm not saying that you need to show your face, but I was there consistently for a good 2-3 months while I was still setting up my business and still setting up things, before I was able to get that lead. And it worked! So celebrate those small wins for yourself, even if it is just one service, one product, an ad hoc thing. Celebrate. And always remember why you're marketing. It's not about those vanity metrics. Vanity metrics are just the numbers, like how many people saw this post, how many people are following me, how many people are clicking the share or like buttons. Are they generating you money? Are they generating you leads? Are they growing that like and know factor? Connecting you to your audience and helping you grow your brand is why you're marketing. And if you're finding that that's hard to swallow at the moment, take a break, come back to it, and feel at peace when you do. Marketing burnout is real. For those who haven't experienced marketing burnout, raise out your hand. I doubt you would have gotten through this entire podcast episode if you had not. But it doesn't have to be your burden to bear forever. By setting boundaries, simplifying your processes, and being kind to yourself in those moments where it's not going the way that you planned, you can keep your own marketing strong without losing your mind. So taking a breath and maybe grabbing a snack. Remind yourself that you've got this. You are running or you are building a brand, and that's going to take time, energy, and if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But you are special because you are taking that initiative to do it. So, thank you so much for joining us in the podcast today. I look forward to hearing and seeing all of your emails regarding this episode. And if you have anything that you want to reach out to, all my details are at vcc.training, or you can email me at zoe@vcc.training. Hear from you soon. When I work with clients, my goal is to get them to their desired outcome. Yes, if I need to be a little bit harsh and a little bit mean, which is probably me just messaging them and just being like, hi, you said we were going to do this. Let's do this. Like, that's my mean face. But when it comes to helping people achieve what they need to achieve, that's what I'm here for. That's what you've hired me for, to get to where you need to go, to use the expertise, and hopefully to use the knowledge that you have as an expert in your field. Because ultimately, if you are running a small business, if you are working with clients and helping them achieve what they want to achieve, you are an expert. You don't need a degree for that. You don't need some fancy... Sorry to cut myself off there. As I've got a nice big red light saying, Zoe, you are over time. You are over time by like 5 minutes. Shut the fuck up. So here I am. I wanted to thank everyone for joining us for this week's Video Confidence Connect. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you comment them down below, or you can check out our hashtag replay for everything that we've discussed today. You will definitely see me in your feeds with this particular look because I'm going to be posting about that VA again. And if you are interested in watching any of our live streams or any of the hot goss, you can check it all out on our website, vcc.training/Video Confidence Connect. And I've done all of that, making sure you... I should probably finish this off. The Video Confidence Coach emboldens women and non-binary superstars with killer video marketing strategies, empowering them to show up, stand out, and smash their goals. Eventually, I will get that elevator pitch together, but today's not that day. See you next week.